Well, it's one way to start a YouTube channel. I don't have much time. Sun is setting. I've got no artificial lights. Well, except for the ceiling light. And I've got something exciting, and that's why I wanted to start it without being properly prepared. Luckily, I've got a mic. I've got one cam there. That's the only camera, so there are no close-ups. The reason why I want to start this YouTube channel is this. Well, not the whole channel, but I meant I'm excited for camera gear, and I just received a brand new Laowa 200mm f2. And the 200mm f2 is something very unique. So I wanted to share South Africa getting our first units and me being excited about it. So this is the Laowa 200mm f2, and eventually it will get out of the box. Bit of suction keeping it there. The 200mm f2 Nikon has always evaded me. You know, it's quite expensive, it's heavy, it's not really easily obtainable. A 200mm f2 gives a really, really great bokeh. Compression is amazing, very flattering on facial structures. So 200mm, even the 70-200, gives a very nice isolated shot of portraiture, and I do a lot of concert photography. So I isolate my subject. I get this blurry background, really creamy bokeh with the 70-200 2.8. But I've always felt like I wouldn't mind a 200 f2 because the bokeh is just a little bit enlarged, further enhanced. Compression stays the same at 200mm, but the bokeh is definitely different. And I've got a full stop writer. So basically doubling of light means I can half my ISO. So if I'm doing concerts at ISO 4000, I can stay at 2000. And depending on what camera body you have, you'll see some of your high-res sensors, maybe Sony A1, Nikon Z8, Canon R5. They have a different type of wow factor in their images when you're below ISO 3200. They can be shot at ISO 16000, but below that, they really shine. And this is the box, which is finally out of the sleeve. It's like a very Leica-ish fit, this little lid, which is cool, but more colorful. It's got a Canon type 7200 pouch, but the material is different. This feels like more of a waterproof material. It's a neck strap for the pouch. See the 200mm f2. So finally now, not only is the Laowa available, where the Nikon or Canon 200mm f2s are difficult to find in DSLR mounts, this is much more affordable, much lighter, and much more compact than the old DSLR variants. It's also more compact than the new Sigma f2, 200mm f2. And that's the 200mm. Where's my ceiling light? There we go. 200mm f2 versus 70-200 2.8. Is it visible? But this gives me double the light. Slightly heavier at 1.8. Well, roughly rounded off 1.8 kilograms, 1.78 without the hood caps and tripod foot. Whereas my 70-200 and most others are about 1.5 kilograms. It's just a Sigma 70-200 that's also 1.8, the sport version. That's also quite a heavy lens. So what do we have here? It's a very short unit. Let's remove the lens hood. It's got a little clamp screw. Oops, must be loosened enough. Oh, there we go. So obviously that's to reverse it. I'm definitely not used to this. Okay, you can feel it tighten. It does take a few screws to tighten the lens hood, and then a few to loosen it again. So we've got a fairly short unit. If I compare this to my Nikon 70-200, this is the Z version, so the mirrorless variant. We've got definitely a taller unit, albeit heavier. This is wider in objective, 105mm versus 77 due to the f2, not 2.8. And 105mm filters are quite expensive, so they've luckily included a 43mm drop-in. So it's a removable unit. It's sealed off. And in that unit, you can put a 43mm filter. It's supplied with a clear filter, like a UV type filter. It does have a little wheel there where you could, if you mounted a circular polarizer filter, which you can purchase separately, you can turn the polarization with this little wheel without removing a filter and turning it and putting it back in. So it's quite cool. And 43mm filters are a lot less expensive than 105mm. I really like the blurple color, the blue purple. That is, in my mind, very cool. A lens has a fully weather. Oh, actually, I haven't checked if it's fully weather sealed, but I know I've seen images where they've showcased all the little weather seals in different positions. So it's definitely a more durable body than most or a lot of third-party lenses out there or previous designs. Autofocus motor built in, which is selectable autofocus manual focus. Aperture ring, it's got on the unit itself, and it's got a little switch on the side where I can declick or click it. So for video use, I would declick, and then it's just a smooth turn of the iris or aperture. And for photography, I would leave the click on so I can feel the change between aperture. It does have an auto aperture, so then you just set your aperture on your camera and not on the lens. So either or, it's available. On the flip side, which is probably the main side, you have an autofocus manual focus switch and a focus range limiter where you limit the focus range, full range, which is 1.5 meters at closest focus distance to infinity. Or you can limit it to only focus between 5 meters and infinity, which speeds up the autofocus because it doesn't have to hunt in the close distance. Now 1.5 meters close, minimum focus distance seems a bit far, but for 200mm that's actually quite unique. Most lenses can't focus down to 1.5 meters at this focal length. Actually, at 200mm f2, this is the lens with the shortest close focus distance on the market. What else do we have here? The manual focus ring, if you are in manual focus mode, is quite a wide, sort of, almost wanted to say laser cut, but it's a very nice machined metal wide frame that you can pull. And my dog just pushed open the, oh, please don't knock the camera, Bubbles. Oh, yesterday. Hey, hello, yay. Okay, I put a crate there that I thought was heavy enough to block the door, but it evidently wasn't. So the focus ring apparently has got, oh, I've forgotten how many degrees, but it's above 200 degrees focus throw, so it's quite an accurate, well-graduated focus if you do want to manual focus. In autofocus mode though, you've got these custom function buttons on 5 different spots. So 4 on the front side, 1 at 90 degrees each, and then 1 on the side of the lens, sort of where you're holding. Now, if you activate a function like autofocus lock on, you can start autofocus while pressing on a lens instead of camera, or you can activate a certain feature, maybe focus of a certain focus area, pinpoint, or a 3D tracking, or something that you use often that's activated on a lens that's different to what's on the camera body. And that way you can move between focus modes, or you can assign a white balance, which probably in hindsight not the best thing to assign to a button, but you can assign the button function once, and that function you can activate at 5 different positions on the lens. Tripod collar. The foot has got a lock and a safety pin, which you have to press in to slide the foot off. Or obviously if you use the tripod or monopod to secure the unit, so you don't have to hold the weight of the camera and this lens the whole time. It's quite easy to fit. It's an Arca Swiss mount, or Arca compatible. Sorry, Arca Swiss is a brand. This is the same cutout or design as Arca Swiss quick release plates. So any tripod with an Arca compatible tripod head will clamp onto this foot without using a quick release plate from your tripod. So there's no plate needed to mount on the foot and then onto the tripod. You just mount the tripod foot directly to the tripod head. Again, if it's an Arca compatible tripod. I think that covers the features of the lens. I don't think I forgot much. I'm back with a little insert because I forgot to mention the tripod collar you can rotate. It's got another lock where you twist ever so slightly, and it can then rotate into a different position. There are no markings to say what is the top of the lens, hence camera body. If you want to rotate it directly, below. However, it does have a little click or like haptic feedback at every 90 degrees of a turn. So even though it doesn't have markings, if I need to be accurate, I still can be. No problems there. That's something I've seen in reviews and it wasn't always mentioned. The other thing I wanted to mention is chromatic aberrations is really well controlled. The sample footage I've seen, although I haven't shot with it myself, hopefully by tomorrow I will, in terms of optical quality, aberrations is very, very well controlled. So I'm looking forward to see this lens in action. That's also where the see-through part comes into play in the little badge or description of the lens. So yes, that's me with some extra. And back to the other video clip. So let's mount this on the Z. Ooh, I heard a sound. It's the iris that was actuating. There we go. And my shutter shield opened up. Let's go to f2. First time this is on a lens. I mean a body. Brilliant. Now I have to go and shoot something. We don't have much light, so it probably have to be tomorrow. Okay then. Well, that's it for a first look of the Laowa 200mm f2. The first YouTube video on my channel. With no accessories except for a camera, a 50mm lens and a mic. And some screens at the back. Which I like. Okay, that's it. Cheers.